Now it's time for some baseball talk on Fightin' Phillies Podcast. Here's Rich Baxter bringing you the latest Phillies news, interviews, and analysis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Phillies Talk. It's Phillies Talk Podcast for March 19th, 2023. Only 11 days till opening day for 2023. It's Rich Baxter, and I'm joined with my longtime co-host and good friend, Mr. Matt Veasey. How are you, Matt?
Afternoon, Rich. How are you this afternoon?
Doing pretty good. We had some spring training baseball this afternoon. I watched a little bit of it from down there in Florida. You got a general gist of what happened down there. Why don't we lead off with that?
Yeah, the Fightins are down 6-5 right now, heading into the ninth inning in Clearwater. They got a couple of solo home runs. They got a home run from that Reese Hoskins fella.
Oh, nice.
The big fella hit a solo home run. It was his third of the spring. He actually hit that in the first inning off of old friend Nick Pivetta. And then they had a solo home run from Cody Roberts, who is DHing today. He's not expected to make the roster, but he had a home run off Pivetta as well. And they got a 2-run double from Nick Castellanos, which is a good sign. So he's had a couple of nice hits recently. And but they're down 6-5. They had a 5-2 lead into the seventh and surrendered a grand slam, actually, that put the Bo Sox ahead 6-5. So that grand slam, not necessarily a major thing, since the Phillies, a lot of the runs that they've given up this spring have been by these extra pitchers, and that Salami, and it was no different. They're not really using any of their main pitchers today. Probably the only pitcher that would be of interest to Phillies fans is Hans Kraus, who was obtained in a deal a few years ago, and he's had some injury problems. Still a prospect. Still has some talent, but he's kind of drifted down the prospect rankings lately, and surely he'll open the year in the minor leagues. But he had a nice shutout inning today, struck out a batter, no walks, no hits. So Phillies are down 6-5. It's not really a big deal, and they did get some production from their big league type players.
That's awesome. Yeah, we can't put too much into spring training. I don't watch spring training all that much. There's been a few games that I have tuned in. I'll listen to it on the radio sometimes. But like you said, some of these pitchers we won't be seeing in the regular season. They're giving up hits. They're giving up runs. So the Phillies aren't looking like they will, quote unquote, in the regular season. But nonetheless, it's good to see the Phillies back on the field. And it's starting to get close. 11 days, I guess, probably 5 to 6 days before the season starts, things will start to get pared down. I'm not sure what time maybe the rosters get reduced. I'm not even sure that they do reduce the rosters, but I'm sure probably within 5 days to start, we'll probably see regular rotations, guys that'll be playing the different positions, certainly for opening day.
Yeah, they'll be wrapping the World Baseball Classic up tonight. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the semifinals, U.S. is playing tonight, and I believe the finals for the WBC are Tuesday. So they'll get all their guys, Turner, Schwarber, Realmuto, will all be back from that WBC service. I would guess they'll probably give them a day off in between, traveling from Miami and that kind of thing. So you'll probably see them back with the big club next Thursday. There's a split squad game with the Tigers that day, pair of games. So maybe they'll be there for that split squad on Thursday. They could also show for the game next Friday in Dunedin, or maybe even be back Saturday for the home game against the Yankees. So at some point later this week, those three will be back with the Phillies. And as you said, it's 11 days till opening day in Texas, but there are only 9 days. There are no more off days in the Grapefruit League schedule. So they'll be playing every day, weather permitting. There are 9 days, 10 games, if you want to include that split squad with the Tigers as two. So it'll be baseball every day until they have a break on March 29th, which is the day between their final Grapefruit League game and then that opener in Texas. So they finish up on the 28th at home in Clearwater against the Blue Jays. That's a 12:05 afternoon start. And then they'll be, I would imagine, hopping a flight, packing everything up there in Clearwater and hopping a flight to out there to Arlington to open up with the Rangers next weekend. The weekend after next.
Yeah, and just 2 days prior was one of my favorite games of the whole preseason here, the Grapefruit League, if you will, St. Patrick's Day game. And Phillies did not wear their green jerseys. I know I have a good buddy of mine that I work with, and he said, "Oh yeah, the Phillies will be in their green jerseys and all." And that's what we expect year in, year out, that we'll see the Phillies in green jerseys. But this year it was well publicized in advance of the game that they will not be wearing the jerseys due to a Nike clause that only allows the team, I believe, to have 4 sets of uniforms this year, maybe 5 if they have City Connect, quote unquote, uniforms, which is a goofy type of uniform that Nike came up with a way out design. I did like the Houston City Connect jersey, if you will, a little bit, but some other teams over the last year or so that we saw them debut, I thought they were stupid, plain and simply. But
Rich, I agree with you. I haven't seen a City Connect jersey yet that I like. So I don't know how many of these things they're actually selling. I'm sure that's really all it is. It's like a merchandising thing, a chance to sell an extra jersey. But I'm sure there are a few people, who are out there putting. I mean, they ask good money for these jerseys, and I haven't seen one yet that would make me spend money on it. As you said, the Nike deal allows them to have 4 plus the City Connect, and the Phillies already have their standard 4 jerseys. They have their regular home and away jerseys. They have the powder blues and they have the creams. And I like that combination for them. So I don't really want to see them change anything. If anything, I was always in the camp of let's go back to the powder blues as their road jerseys and get rid of the road jerseys that they have now. And then you could have a St. Patty's Day as their 4th jersey, a green version. But otherwise, I'm perfectly happy with the jerseys that the Phillies have right now. And I'm not really looking forward to a City Connect one, although I'm sure they'll have one at some point.
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to make its debut this season. I haven't seen it yet. It's been kept under wraps. When I find it, we'll talk about it on the podcast for sure. But at least the Phillies had a St. Patrick's Day hat on this year, although I didn't really care for that too much. And I have last year's hat, or maybe even the year before that. But this is what they look like this year. If you're watching us on YouTube or the video version of the show, it had like a gold inlay under the Phillies logo, Kelly green in the front, but sort of a dark green in the back. On television, it almost looked like a black back hat, but wasn't a big fan of this one this year. I don't think I'll be buying that one.
Yeah, I like it, but I have a couple of Phillies green ball caps, and one green ball cap is good enough for me for St. Patty's Day. I'll probably never buy another one in my life. So unless that wears out somehow, but I only wear it, a couple of times around St. Patty's Day. So I'm fine with mine. And I think it's a nice looking, cap, but I had no reason to go out and buy another one. And I had some friends we went down to spring training last, my wife and I, in 2011. So it's been a while now, but we went down at this time for St. Patty's Day, and it was a ball. It was very nice to see everybody in their green jerseys, like you said, and all the fans are all, whether the Phillies are wearing green or not, all the fans were decked out in, green versions of Phillies paraphernalia, jerseys, caps, that kind of thing. And the group that we went down with still goes down, and my cousin's a part of that. A lot of friends are part of that group, and they were all down there. I saw a big group picture of them. They were all wearing their green Philly stuff. So a good time had by all around, especially around St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, that's always a great time to be down there, especially in person. But this jersey's grown on me a little bit. If you want to talk a little bit about jerseys for a minute, USA, the Team USA, of course, World Baseball Classic last night. Trea Turner advancing the USA. We may not have seen them in tonight's game hadn't it been for Trea Turner. He hits a grand slam, advances USA into the semifinals tonight, and they have to beat Cuba tonight to go on for the finals. That'll be Tuesday night. But if you're listening to this podcast as we're doing it, the day that we're doing it, it's the World Baseball Classic already in the semifinals tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It will start off, and the USA needs to win one more game to get to the big final.
Yeah, kind of interesting last night in that Mark DeRosa had his Phillies contingent lined up together at the bottom of his order. He had Schwarber 7, Real Muto 8, Turner 9, and they really came through, as they have been pretty much most of this tournament. Schwarber homered earlier in the tournament. Real Muto's had a number of big hits. He's hitting 625 now down there in the tournament. Schwarber yesterday was 1 for 3 with a run scored. Real Muto was 2 for 3 with a run scored, and just ahead of Turner's big slam. I happened to be watching it, and Real Muto got hit by a pitch, and it was a moment, Rich. I don't know if you got to see it at any point, but JT did not enjoy that hit by a pitch at all, and kind of like, and didn't Rhys Hoskins bat slam it, but he kind of slammed his bat down a little bit, aggravated, was staring out at the pitcher as he walked towards first base a little slowly, gave him that real evil eye glare. So, it was really, I was like, are we going to see a charged mound here, in the WBC?
And Real Muto isn't really known for his emotions too much.
No, I think it was just the idea of, he got hit and it probably hurt smarted, and he's like, really? It was kind of like that kind of like look, and really glared at him, Rich.
You want me to come out there?
Yeah, it was kind of that kind of look, he was obviously pissed off. Yeah. And then right after that, Turner comes up and he got behind 0-2, and just the pitcher, and I don't remember who it was for Venezuela, but just laid a beach ball over the plate, and Turner did not miss it. He crushed that grand slam. That put the USA ahead. It was a really it took you back to, Red October. It was a really thrilling moment. And, USA from the brink of elimination, went from down, and they had been leading for much of the game. They scored 3 in the top of the first. Venezuela got 2 back. The U.S. opened up a 5-2 lead into the bottom of the 5th, and Venezuela got a crooked number. They scored 4 times. Went up 6-5, got a home run, second home run of the game for one of the big Venezuelan hitters. Again, I'm drawing a blank for who it was, but they got a big solo home run to make it 7-5, and then USA got Turner's home run in the 8th to make it 9-7. So thriller last night, and now they got Cuba tonight. They're USA coming back on no rest. Cuba's had a couple of days. I think they had 2 or 3 whole days off since they advanced. They were playing their pool play overseas. So they came back, and Cuba will be ready. Cuba trying to go back, I think, to the finals for the first time since maybe, 15 years ago or something. And then that'll be they'll face the winner of Japan against, I believe that it's Mexico. Japan and Mexico play at 7:00 tomorrow. So, and then will be the championship on Tuesday. So it's U.S. Cuba Sunday night. It'll be Japan, Mexico on Monday night, and then the championship 7:00 be carried by FS1 on Tuesday. That game tonight, people can see also at 7:00 on FS1, and the same thing tomorrow if they want to watch the Mexico-Japan game.
That's awesome. I can't wait for that. I'll be watching tonight's game a little bit there. USA and Cuba going at it. And as you said, Trea Turner responsible for bringing the USA into the World Baseball Classic semifinal. And after the game, he was saying how the stadium was electric. He hit an 0-2 bomb of a home run, said Mark DeRosa, manager of the Team USA. His quote was, Trea Turner stepped up and just with an 0-2 absolute bomb. So that was the talk after Turner hit it. Of course, he's 29 years old, appeared in 43 playoff games, it says here, in his big league career, including the 2019 World Series with the Washington Nationals. So he has some playoff and World Series experience, signing the 11-year deal worth $300 million with the Phillies. And now he's the hero that gets the Team USA onto the semifinals. So, as you said, we'll have to see if the Phillies connection can help them again tonight in the semifinals. Of course, they have to win tonight to go on. They lose tonight, they're out of the tournament. Japan facing an unlikely foe in Mexico. I think Japan has the edge there. So maybe we'll see a USA versus Japan for the finals on Tuesday night.
Well, coming in, USA, Japan, Dominican Republic were the top 3 rated teams. They were by most predictions, they were clearly the 3 favorite teams coming in. The Dominicans got upset. They got knocked out in Mexico. All power to them. They earned it. So, Mexico will be facing a fantastic Japanese team led by Shohei Ohtani. And they have a number of, strong big leaguers and Japanese leaguers on their team. So they're a very formidable team. Japan won the first 2 WBCs. There have been 4. The Dominicans won the 3rd one. The U.S. won the last one. So I think most people are looking forward to, who are following this Japan-USA matchup for the final. But hey, listen, Mexico and Cuba, they have long baseball histories, and they would love to get there as well. So should be a couple of interesting semifinals.
Yes, it should be, and we'll see if the USA can do it this year. Not an automatic, especially since they could have been eliminated if it wasn't for Trea Turner's dramatic grand slam to get them to the semifinals. He might be the best person that I could get for my jersey, as we talked about on the last show. I was thinking about getting an authentic jersey this year, and with that hit, I think that almost solidifies it. I'm still considering a couple other jerseys, but I think Turner's got my vote for now.
What a fantastic pickup, Rich. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Turner play for the Phillies. Philly fans are going to love this guy. He's a legitimate MVP caliber, almost perennial, all-star talent. And who knows, the long contracts that they're giving out, and Turner's got a 10-year, Bryce has a number of years left on his deal. Who knows how these deals will work out on the back end, but for the next, 3, 4, 5 years, he's going to supply the Phillies with some outstanding, exciting baseball. So I think he was just a fantastic signing by the ball club. And I'm as excited about him as any free agent that they've signed in recent years outside of Bryce. So great pickup by the Phillies. He's having a nice spring. He's having a nice spring here and now down in the WBC. It's nice to see JT playing well. They have a number of other players. This has been a pretty decent spring training for a bunch of guys for the Phillies. Aaron Nola is pitching really well down there in the spring, over 11 and 2/3 innings. He's only allowed 8 hits. He's got 11 strikeouts. His batting average against is just 190. They've gotten some fantastic work from Craig Kimbrell, who was a big signing for them. Zach Wheeler just made a nice start. Some of the bullpen arms, Sir Anthony's pitching well, Brogdon's pitching well, in addition to Kimbrell. Andrew Bellotti pitching well. The newcomer Matt Stram pitching well. So Alvarado pitching fantastic. Hasn't given up anything yet this spring. I may be forgetting somebody, but the bullpen's been doing well. The guys that they have to count on, Nola's been doing well most of the spring. Wheeler had a nice outing his last out. It's if they can just get another Taijuan Walker, also, he looks like he's going to be a real pickup. Certainly, I expect better than we got last year out of Kyle Gibson from Taijuan Walker. So it's really, we hope that Ranger Suarez is okay. The club said today that they expect him to be ready the first week of the season, but he's behind everybody else because he did have a slight injury situation. So they're expecting that Ranger will be ready that first week. He'll probably make one of those starts in the Yankee series, the second series of the season. It's awesome. The big things right now. The hitters, I talked about the pitching, but the hitters, Derek Hall, just having a phenomenal spring. He's hitting 293, leads the club with 5 homers. He and Nick Castellanos, who, like we said, had a 2-run double today, came in with 9 RBIs, tied for the club lead. Jake Cave, who's trying to push for a bench job, has 9 RBIs. It's in 429. Edmundo Sosa's been fantastic. 4 homers, 8 RBIs, batting 500 with a 1.564, which is unheard of OPS. So Sosa, I don't know that they'll consider Rich at this stage platooning at second base, a strict platoon. Yeah. But if Stott, doesn't get it together, he's only hitting 189 this spring with a 609 OPS. And I think he's going to be fine. And I think that they should start him playing every day. But the way Sosa's playing, and he's a nice little player, we could see him, take some games away from Stott, especially against those left-handed hitters, pitchers. I apologize. Yeah. Alec Boehm's been hitting the ball hard. He's got 3 home runs. He's only hitting 244, but like I said, he's hitting the ball hard. He's got an 848 OPS. Rhys Hoskins has 3 homers. He's going deep again today, his 3rd home run. He's hitting 321 this spring. That's awesome. So there are a lot of good signs down there, Rich. So I'm looking forward to getting this thing started.
Yes, indeed. And next week, we'll have our predictions for the show here on the Phillies Talk Podcast with Rich and Matt. I got my press guide for the Phillies. Be reading that later on tonight. And very excited about the season as well. Opening day just 11 days away here as we're doing the podcast today for Phillies Talk Podcast. But can't wait for the next show, Matt. Appreciate the time. And thanks for joining us. Check us out. Matt's over at
Phillies Bell. So on Twitter, go to @Phillies Bell, like that bell that rings out in the outfield when they hit a home run or win a ball game, @Phillies Bell on Twitter.
Very awesome. You can find me at Fightin' Phillies as well on Twitter, or fightinphillies.com is the home of Phillies Talk Podcast, as well as everywhere you can download it on the internet for podcasts and YouTube. And Facebook. So check us out. Phillies Talk Podcast. I know there's another one with the same name, but look for With Rich and Matt. You spell that along with it, you're going to find us. Matt, it's been a great talk with you. Can't wait for the next show, our predictions. You have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Too, Rich. Go Phils.